1 year ago today, a devastating tornado hit the community of Greenfield.
Lives were changed forever within minutes.
Our daughter was like, we think the houses, they're in the basement, we think it's being taken away.
Recovery is still ongoing, but so much progress has been made.
Like rebuilding homes and building an even stronger community.
How can we help? What are we doing here?
One thing that has stood out since that day, the spirit, strong will, and generosity of Iowans near and far.
They were over 100 miles away. They ended up coming over and helping that day.
That is what we want to highlight right now.
This bell was heard across Greenfield close to 3:42 this afternoon. That's when exactly 1 year ago, the devastating EF4 tornado barreled through town, taking lives and destroying homes and buildings.
Today is a really hard day for the people who live in Greenfield to look back on. A lot of emotions here, but there is also so much for them to be proud of. They have come through so much in this year. In the span of 1 year, we have seen what it truly means to be a helper and a neighbor.
It's been spectacular to witness. We want to thank the people here in Greenfield who have shared their stories of both tragedy and triumph with us, and of course with all of you. It has been a trying time, but again, we're here to spotlight too the progress that's been made. We're devoting the next half hour to sharing their strength and resiliency.
We have live team coverage here in Greenfield, and we start by showing you where we were 1 year ago.
Greenfield, again, this is pretty much on top of you at the moment. Just not a good situation down there right now. Debris on the ground, buildings damaged, a situation we've unfortunately seen quite a bit so far this spring. Yeah, just hoping that everybody's okay down there.
We are really starting to see just the extent of this damage. We have a family right behind me who is currently just rummaging through what used to be their home.
They're still checking for people. They're going house to house.
A very emotional time, emotional to take us back as we're remembering this coverage. We talked to a number of people in town today who said it was arranged, right? Some people wanted to be here and be a part of these celebrations. Some just said, I can't do it. It just brings too much back.
You use the word raw, and I think that's very much, it's the perfect way to put it. Again, while we are here highlighting the progress, it's still very raw what happened a year ago today. People are still working their way through that.
And as you saw in those pictures, the damage was overwhelming. And thankfully, there was an outpouring of support coming from not only across the state, but across from the country and around the world. Money, hygiene products, groceries, volunteers, you name it, they got it.
Oh, it was unbelievable to witness, but someone had to manage all of that. KCCI's Bo Bowman introduces us to the folks who dropped what they were doing, taking on new roles in order to serve their neighbors. Bo?
Yeah, Ben, the people placed in charge of that, it's not like they were from out of town. They were Greenfield residents too, and while some of them weren't hit or severely impacted by that storm, others had families who were right there in the disaster zone, and some even were right there in the worst of it. A strong wind can still give pause to the folks of Greenfield. 1 year after the tornado ravaged the south side of town, it's easy to see the progress, but the scars left behind are never out of sight. No one will forget the chills they felt.
Our daughter was like, we think the houses, they're in the basement, we think it's being taken away.
Jennifer Garside took in her daughter, son-in-law, and grandkids while they worked to repair their home.
My daughter's a nurse, and so she was already out triaging, when we got there, like 5 minutes later. And my son-in-law works for our local utility company, so he needed to get going on that part.
Shortly after the storm, Garside moved from her full-time job at the bank to run the Greater Greenfield Foundation, operating out of the Gathering Place.
We're keeping it open for volunteers.
An old church building that narrowly missed the funnel.
Were you majorly damaged? Were you destroyed? Are you needing medical assistance, help with co-pays and all of that? And that's what we did pretty much from May 21st through the end of the year.
The foundation that was already in place on a volunteer basis now found itself in the middle of sorting through thousands of dollars in donations coming in from every direction.
I was a zombie, honestly.
Stacy Eshelman has been the executive director of the Greenfield Chamber in Main Street for more than a decade. But when the tornado hit her house, she was left speechless.
I had never witnessed that kind of destruction, but I mean, I was in my house, when it was, kind of falling apart. And then I came out of the basement. I could not move.
Eshelman's house was left standing, but the roof and east wall were both gone. She still hasn't moved back in, but has been hard at work with the foundation and the chamber every step of the way.
I started one of the first public meetings saying, I lost my home on May 21st, but I will never claim to know what you are feeling right now or what it was like for you to go through that, because it impacted us all so very differently.
And that's what the goal has been since day one, to meet people where they are. For the volunteers, now full-timers, that's the rock they believe they can rebuild their city upon. And that's why they've poured their hearts into helping their neighbors restore their lives, all the while quietly braving the storms brewing in their own.
I'm really glad that we live in a small town, because I think you just always dive in there to help your neighbor, which I think we knew, but I think that was really on display the last year.
The foundation has not publicly released just how many donations they received in the last year just yet, but a couple of things they do want to know. Despite all the progress that you see in town, especially on the south side, there is still a lot of work to be done, and a lot of volunteer work for the most part is their big ask. A lot of projects that require a lot of labor hours to finish up. Additionally, they wanted to thank the Center for Disaster Philanthropy. A grant from them provided the foundation with the ability to hire a case manager, and they really credit that grant to their success here over the last year, being able to organize and take in as many cases as they did. Ben and Stacy.
Bo, thank you for bringing us that story, and thank you to all those heroes out there. That's exactly what they are, going through it themselves and still helping others get back on their feet. Unbelievable. Well, before the tornado hit, Greenfield had been selected as an overnight stop on the Register's annual Great Bike Ride Across Iowa, or RAGBRAI. The town decided to go ahead and welcome the riders 2 months after the storm, and participants who rode through town did so silently through areas where homes had been wiped off of their foundations.
It was stunning to see the celebration that is the RAGBRAI on two wheels, but supporting the people in town. They showed their support by donating more than $60,000, which went to the General Tornado Relief Fund. That fund helped repair the hospital, and it's helping rebuild the fire station too. KCCI's Ophelia Jacobson will have more on that coming up in just a few minutes.
Many of the homes that were destroyed have been rebuilt. Some are in the process of being rebuilt. Habitat for Humanity and its volunteers, they're working on 2 of them. We saw Jason at the site where those homes are going up a little bit earlier in this newscast. They already have 2 families who are waiting to call them home. At least one of the homeowners helped with the early stages of the build. The organization says these families wanted to stay here in this community despite what happened. The 2 families are expected to be able to move into their new homes this fall.
That is wonderful news. You see the pictures of all the damage, and a year later we are still trying to wrap our heads around just how strong this storm was to create so much damage in a minute's worth of time.
And that's the amazing thing, right? 60 seconds changed so many lives. Chief Meteorologist Jason Sadeko and Meteorologist Zane Satchery join us now to give us some perspective on all that. Guys?
Yeah, and I mean, some of the stories we've heard out here, just standing on this street, people coming up to us to tell us their stories, people being, sucked out of closets, walls collapsing on people. I mean, it's stuff that you would think almost in a war zone at times. But it was a very strong tornado. An EF4 tornado rolled through here 1 year ago today that packed winds of 185 miles per hour. And to put a little bit of that in perspective, only 0.2% of all tornadoes in the U.S. last year were EF4 tornadoes. That's 1,791 tornadoes. And again, this was just one of the few that was as strong as it was. And Well, that was the second most tornadoes that we'd seen since 2004. And with the strength of that tornado, again, it wasn't just home damage that we saw that day. Zane, you were out chasing that day, Adams County, and you saw some other things getting destroyed.
Yeah, it's not too often that you can gauge how strong a tornado is in the moment. We can survey the damage afterwards. But when we were storm chasing this particular tornado that day, we came across these destroyed wind turbines about 15, 20 miles southwest of here in Adams County. And those were obviously toppled over, and you don't see that too often. I mean, these are actually pretty strong. That wind farm down north of Prescott was actually pretty recently built. These towers, they're really tall, a few hundred feet tall, but they're actually really strong. They're made to handle winds over 100 miles per hour. So to see those crumpled over and burning was a sign of how strong this tornado was before it even got to Greenfield. And then back at the station, if you looked at the radar, there were some other signs you could see how strong this tornado was.
Yeah, it was impressive. Even just with our radar, I remember seeing the debris field that we can see lofted into the air encompassed the entire town. And a testament to the strength of that tornado, that debris field was lofted 15 to 20,000 feet in, 35 to 40,000 feet in the air. And you get strong tornadoes, EF4 plus, that are 15 to 20,000 feet in the air. So again, a testament to the strength that we saw of that tornado. And that debris was blown clear into Minnesota in some locations. Lightweight debris, we're talking pictures, we're talking pieces of paper that were blown 150 miles away. And I guess no surprise after the fact, we saw data that was published showing
how strong,
winds.
Yeah, even stronger. Winds over 300 miles per hour. Now, that data came from what's called a Doppler on wheels. We have a picture of one that we can show you. The same truck, basically, that was about a half mile east of town right when the tornado came through. You heard Stacy mention it was only in town for basically a minute. They were not too far east of Greenfield along the highway when they measured winds just above the ground, about 150 to 100 feet above the ground. They used that to estimate winds over 300 miles per hour at the ground level, and there's only been 2 other tornadoes that have been measured by a radar truck that strong. But that doesn't change the EF4 rating that was officially decided on by the Weather Service.
It doesn't. They use a scale, again, that's based off of damage, and they have to continue to use that to drive consistency in those ratings so you can compare apples to apples, you know. Yeah, it's nice to see the amount of rebuilding that's happened out here and just the warmth of the people.
Well, Zane and Jason, thank you very much for your information today. And we just know the work that they did a year ago today saved lives. And we are so thankful for their information and knowledge.
Oh, absolutely. That's for sure. Yeah.
The fire department in Greenfield spent time helping others even after the station was heavily damaged in the tornado.
They've had a few temporary locations in the past year, and coming up, the work to rebuild the station and how they say this year has brought the department closer together.
Welcome back. We are live in Greenfield showing the strength and the resilience 1 year after the town was hit by a powerful, deadly tornado.
We also, of course, want to take a moment to remember 5 people who lost their lives 1 year ago today. Monica Zamrin was on her way home from work in Adams County when the tornado crossed the highway and hit her vehicle. Zamrin's co-workers at Southwest Iowa Egg Co-op describe her as a special friend, and her love for her family was obvious to everyone who knew her.
4 people were killed in Greenfield. Pam and Dean Wiggins would have been married 60 years next month. Pam was a proud cancer survivor. Dean was a dedicated Iowa Hawkeye fan.
Michael Jensen's family describes him as the best uncle and a friend. They say he always made you feel welcome, no matter the setting.
Lee Williamson was a golfer, a fisherman, a hunter, and a devoted dog owner. His family said he led a rich life with his family and friends. All these folks leave behind many friends and loved ones.
There's now a memorial in town dedicated to those who lost their lives, as well as the first responders and volunteers who rushed to save so many others. Nathan Hubenka, who lost his house to the tornado, and others put together the money and the labor for this memorial, which they were able to unveil back on May 9th. You can find the memorial near the intersection of Southwest 2nd and Southwest Oak Streets here in town. All right, well, one of the most inspiring stories of recovery that we've heard in the last year is the story of Grandma Dixie.
Everybody in town knows Grandma Dixie. She's a delight. Dixie Dingman suffered a number of broken bones in that storm, including her back, and she went through months of physical therapy. She used to walk 6 miles a day on the treadmill. That's before the storm. She tells us she's back up to 3 or 4 miles a week. Grandma Dixie was able to return to Greenfield today. We will hear more from her tonight on KCCI 8 News at 10. We both got to meet her today, and she's just a lovely woman.
She was loving a big old hug from Miss Stacy Horst over
yes,
here.
Yes, she was great.
Well, many first responders have been helping people across town while processing their own loss.
Especially the fire department. KCCI's Ophelia Jacobson joins us with their story tonight. Ophelia?
Well, Stacy and Ben, the remarkable thing about the Greenfield Fire Department is just the selflessness that they had on that day. 4 of their members, including their former chief and the current chief that we spoke to last week, lost their homes in the storm. And despite knowing that loss back at home and knowing that their fire station, which used to be here and is now just a lot of dirt, they were still out there the entire afternoon and in the days that followed, helping their neighbors out.
This is what we have for now.
The Greenfield Volunteer Fire Department has been operating out of this space since fall of 2024. It's not your typical fire station.
It's a little difficult. We have 1 door. That's it. So this is 126 Unit 2. This truck is mainly for like structure fires.
Fire trucks are packed in tight. Chief Curtis Fry says they're making do with what they have.
We are currently still adjusting to this place.
The fire department is stationed out of a truck company's metal shed right now because their original station is currently an empty lot of dirt.
We could definitely just look over and see that it had been hit.
The EF4 tornado that tore through town 1 year ago severely damaged their home base. This is what the structure looked like in the days after the storm.
It was kind of like a roundabout conversation, you know. What are we going to do next?
The crew first moved into a warehouse on a local family farm, then a few months later ended up here.
It hasn't stopped us one bit. We still, pager goes off, we're still coming.
That pager went off just 1 hour after KCCI interviewed Fry, and sure enough, the department was out the door responding to a crash. The fire department is in the process of planning for their new station. It will be built at its original location.
We are hoping we can at least park our trucks in a heated shell by November 1st.
Fry says it'll take time to get back to normal, but he knows the firefighters are in it together every step of the way.
You know, we all looked after each other afterwards, and it kind of grew us a little bit closer.
And the chief tells me all of the bids to build the new station have come back, and the fire station is now thinking of new ways to move forward, the next steps to move with building that new station. If you'd like to donate to help, you can write a check to the Greenfield Fire Department Foundation. We're live in Greenfield. Ophelia Jacobson, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
Ophelia, thank you. You know, we are so happy to say today's weather is very different from what we saw last year.
We're going to send it now to Jason with a quick check of our forecast.
Yeah, Ben and Stacy, it's been absolutely beautiful out here. I mean, granted, it's a little bit windy at times. It makes it feel a little bit cooler, but Greenfield's coming around 60 degrees right now. You can see on the satellite and radar. We've got not necessarily clear skies, but nearly clear skies out there. It's been pretty nice. Temperatures where there are clouds, though, again, largely in the 50s, and we've got low 60s where we've got those sunnier skies. So as we work our way into the day tonight, those temperatures are going to be backing down into the middle 40s by tomorrow morning. Could again be talking some wind chills to the northwest into the mid to upper 30s. So plan on layering up a little bit if you're heading out tomorrow morning. But on your future cast here, again, we've got a chance for an isolated shower or two into the day on Thursday. That's mainly going to be in the morning hours. But after that, the rain shifts southward, and we start to clear those skies out again. So for tonight, again, plan on it being a little cool out there. And into the day tomorrow, those temperatures, again, hiking back up into the upper 50s to mid-60s, depending where you're at. That 8-day forecast, temperatures continue to warm into the weekend as we push close to 70 degrees, but that's also when we'll start to bring in that chance for a little bit of rain. We'll likely see that continue on into Memorial Day. We'll have more coming up after this break.
Many say going to Greenfield Lake wasn't the same after the storm.
But as summer heats up, KCCI's Alyssa Gomez shows us the work that's being done to restore one of the town's most loved courses there.
Small town charm flows through Greenfield Lake, and it pours into the town's disc golf course.
The greatest thing about what Greenfield Disc Golf was is it was pretty unstandard. It was the homemade baskets and stuff like that. It was just a really, really fun course to play. And it wasn't hard to fall in love with it, basically.
A tradition that dates back to 1989, the course serves the community and visitors alike.
Everybody grew up throwing frisbees for the most part.
Henry Yukin is a disc golf enthusiast and frequents the Greenfield course. He says he loves the energy and thrill of the game.
But there's so much more. There's community, there's, work ethic.
No frisbees whipped through the wind on May 21st, 2024. Instead, the Greenfield tornado sent debris flying.
Over this corner over there, you could see the formation of the actual storm as it rolled through.
A storm that wrecked the town.
Looked like a war zone.
Yeah. I mean, being a veteran and seeing a war zone, you're absolutely correct.
The disc golf course was also hit, littered with broken tree branches, baskets damaged, leaving the field unrecognizable.
It was weird seeing like an entire course just wiped off the map.
But the story doesn't end there.
18 disc golf baskets were destroyed in the Greenfield tornado, but everywhere you look at Greenfield Lake, there's signs of progress being made to bring back that well-loved pastime.
Yukin says the original owner of the disc golf course set out on a mission to not just restore the course, but give it new life.
Once it kind of came to light that, he was out there doing stuff, then it kind of like the people underneath formed. And we're like, oh, hey, how can we help? What are we doing here?
A committee was formed, and now little by little, steps are being taken to repair what was lost. And Yukin says the rebuilding process is bringing people closer together.
So the community of disc golf has grown with the resurgence of this rebuilt disc golf course.
From volunteers planting more than 100 trees to ordering brand new baskets, Greenfield Disc Golf Course is moving forward with the future in mind.
It's very similar to the town in the aspect of out of the ashes, we're rising.
Out of the ashes and into the air.
Yeah!
In Greenfield, Alyssa Gomez, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
Well, we want to end by, again, thanking everybody here in Greenfield who have shared their stories and welcomed our KCCI team.
We are in awe, really, of how everyone has come together and how so much progress has been made as we hear the laughter going on in the community square there behind us.
We will leave you with some of the most powerful images of this remarkable recovery over the last year.